It's a familiar feeling inside a company. A team on the ground sees a problem as a major fire, something that needs to be put out immediately. But weeks later, when that same issue reaches senior leaders, it might just look like a small, manageable number on a chart. To understand why this happens, we have to look at the structure of the organization itself.
So, at the ground level, a team sees a problem with all of its complexity. They experience the interconnected parts, the immediate fallout, and all the little details of what's going wrong. The problem feels huge because its impact is right there, visible and felt by the people doing the work. But by the time information about that problem makes its way into a high-level report, it's completely changed. All that raw detail gets distilled. The issue is often represented by a single statistic, maybe a small percentage increase in project delays. The original sense of urgency and the context are just gone.
Now, this transformation from a complex reality into a simple metric isn't some kind of accident. It's actually a direct result of the perspective required to run an organization from the top. Think about it. Senior decision makers are responsible for the entire organization, not just one small part of it. To make that job even possible, they have to work with information that's been simplified and aggregated. Their focus has to be on the overall health and direction of the business, which requires a very broad, summarized view.
This filtering of information is really a required feature of how large organizations are designed. The whole system is structured to condense enormous amounts of operational data into something manageable. This is what allows leadership to oversee a huge operation without getting bogged down in the day-to-day specifics of every single department.
We can see this filtering process really clearly if we just trace the path of a single problem as it travels up the chain. As information moves through the hierarchy, it isn't just passed along. It's actually transformed at every single level.
So it starts at the ground level with a direct experience of the issue. When it gets reported to a supervisor, that experience is translated into words. That supervisor then summarizes it for their manager. This process of summarizing and aggregating just keeps going, and at each stage, more and more details are lost.
This transformation isn't random at all. It's shaped by the specific pressures and incentives that people face at each level of a hierarchy.
At the individual level, for example, employees are evaluated based on their performance. This creates a natural incentive to present information in a way that shows competence and to avoid being seen as the source of a problem.
So in response to that pressure, an employee might hold back certain details or maybe frame an issue in a more optimistic way when they're reporting it to their boss. Information that could look like a personal failure might get softened.
And what this means is that the very first version of the problem that moves upward is already a less severe, less detailed version of what's really happening on the ground.
Then we go up to the manager level. Here, evaluation is often based on the overall success of their team. This creates a powerful motivation to solve problems within their own group and to avoid passing issues further up the chain.
So, in response, a manager will often combine multiple reports from their team. Several individual problems, even if they're related, get condensed into summary statistics. For example, 10 different customer complaints might become a single data point, a 2% rise in complaints.
And now, the problem has been stripped of its story, its specific details, and its human element. It's been transformed from a collection of real events into an abstract number, making its original urgency almost impossible to see. This filtering effect that happens vertically is made even stronger by the simple, massive complexity of communication as an organization gets bigger.
Think about how separate departments often work in silos. Communication between teams at the same level can be difficult. Because of specialization, they might even speak different professional languages. Rivalry for resources can also discourage them from sharing information openly. And this prevents related problems in different areas from being connected to reveal a larger pattern.
Here's why that happens. The number of potential communication channels grows way faster than the number of people. If you have 2 people, there's only 1 line of communication between them. But with 5 people, there are suddenly 10 lines. You can see how direct communication just becomes impractical as a group gets bigger.
And this really illustrates the challenge of scale. With hundreds or thousands of employees, the number of potential communication lines becomes totally unmanageable. A formal hierarchy is the structural solution to this complexity, but it comes with a direct trade-off. It creates information bottlenecks.
The result of all these structural forces is a system that, for the most part, functions as it was designed to, but it comes with inherent side effects that represent a really fundamental trade-off.
The systematic filtering and watering down of information isn't a sign that the organization is broken. It's actually a direct consequence of the very structure that allows a large number of people to work together toward a common goal in the first place.
This common phrase really just describes a natural outcome of a system that's designed to manage large, complex work. When communication is structured to flow up and down through specific channels, information often isn't shared from side to side. It's a predictable result of having specialization and hierarchy.
In the end, the structure of most large organizations comes down to a core trade-off. The system is built to optimize for scale and control, and doing that requires simplifying information. That optimization, by its very design, comes at the cost of detailed ground-level accuracy.